Hey everybody, Kevin Duffy here of MassLive.com, joined by Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, and we're going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo today because he is of extreme interest, obviously, to the Patriots, given the fact that he's on the Patriots, and he might end up being on the Browns because I think of all the teams that want to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, the Browns probably have the best package they can offer. So, Mary, I guess I would ask you, what's the perception of Jimmy Garoppolo out in Cleveland, and do you think it's a realistic possibility?
You know, I actually do. I think that the interest in him is very real. I expect them to try to trade for him unless they really fall in love with one of these draft prospects. If they decide that Mitch Trubisky is number 1 overall, then I think that changes the game in terms of what they would do with Jimmy. But if they want to go with more of a veteran presence, then I really do think that they will toss their hat in the ring for Jimmy. And like you said, they have the ammo to do it. They've got number 1 overall, they've got the number 12 pick. And I've been advocating, send that number 12 pick to the Patriots.
I agree with you wholeheartedly because I don't think there's, you take rookies and they take a couple years to develop, if they even end up developing, or you end up with like a Blake Bortles situation. It's better to me to get the known commodity, and I think the Patriots are going to have a lot of offers because I think many of these teams, like the Browns, have cycled through the rookie quarterback thing and it hasn't worked out, and it's time to try something new. I guess what do people think about Garoppolo's skill set out there? Do they think there's this perception that because he plays for the Patriots, he might not translate elsewhere because the Patriots make everyone look so good? Like they have Matt Castle in the past and quarterbacks like that. Is that a concern to you?
Yeah, I think it is a concern. I think, when I get a lot of emails and I get a lot of feedback in comments and things like that, people do seem to wonder, is he just a product of the system? Is he, he's not Tom Brady, he's going to be the next Matt Castle. So you do hear things like that. But I've talked to enough really smart quarterback people that are very excited about Jimmy. So I've done enough on my own sort of due diligence to think that shipping the number 12 to New England would be the right move for the Cleveland Browns. They've got to solve the quarterback problem. They have got to do it. They're not going anywhere until they finally get a quarterback. I have actually proposed take Mitch Trubisky number 1 overall and then turn around and ship number 12 to the New England Patriots for Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't know if that's as crazy as it sounds.
No, I don't think it is either because look at how Seattle assembled their roster. When they got Russell Wilson, they tried with 5 guys before that. They traded for Travaris Jackson, Charlie Whitehurst, Matt Flynn they signed or traded for. So they took chances on guys, and those guys didn't work out. They took Wilson, they finally hit. So I think there's something to be said for, the more shots you throw up, the better chance you have at hitting. We both talked a little bit to Jimmy Garoppolo today. What did you gauge from your conversation with him? I'm sure you asked him a little bit about the Browns.
Yeah, I did. He was obviously very politically correct about everything, and they have them very trained, in the Patriot way of really not saying anything. But
it's fun, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Actually, I got him talking about Kyle Shanahan a little bit because Kyle Shanahan really liked Jimmy coming out of college when he was with the Cleveland Browns at the time, and he really liked Jimmy. And so he talked a little bit about Kyle's offense. And Kyle Shanahan, when he takes over in San Francisco, is another person that might be interested in Jimmy. And they have the number 2 overall pick, and not that they would give that up, but so there was a little bit of perspective there. And then I did ask him about Hugh Jackson and if he had any familiarity with Hugh Jackson. He remembered meeting with him at the combine, but that was really about the extent of that. But so tried to get a little bit out of him. But of course, he just said he's very focused on this game. But I'm sure that somewhere in the back of his mind, he would like to try to get out there and start.
Yeah, and the other side of this equation is, are the Patriots actually going to want to trade him? That's what we're talking about, all these teams that want him. But do the Patriots think it's the right move to trade him? I've gone back and forth on that because I think when you have someone who you might view as a potential successor and a franchise quarterback, it's hard to let that go, even if Brady's not near the end, because you don't know if you're going to be able to find another one. Think about the Browns. How long has it been? Think about probably 2/3 of the NFL are constantly desperate to find another quarterback. So it might be tough for the Patriots to part with him if they think he's that guy. That said, if they think Brady's going to play another 4 years, they're not financially going to be able to retain both of those guys. So this would be the offseason that they would move Garoppolo.
Yeah. So that's the X factor here is the money that would have to be involved. So if they're not willing to pay him like that and they don't find that kind of starting money value and they look in that crystal ball and they don't see that for him over the next 3 or 4 years, then it does make sense for them to do something about it. The timing just isn't right for them to try to assign him to such a big move to like that.
No, it doesn't. This is a team that really budgets pretty well, and I don't think that, even though Tom Brady doesn't have the cap hit that Andrew Luck does, for example, I don't think they want to be spending 30 some odd million, more 40 million on the quarterback position, because it would really, especially if they think Garoppolo's going to be a backup for 4 more years. So it all depends on how long they think Brady can play. And obviously 28 TDs, 2 picks, he's shown absolutely no signs of slowing down. So to me, if I had to predict, I would say that odds are there's a more likely chance they're going to trade Garoppolo than they're going to keep him this offseason.
Yeah, and like you said, and I think it would take a first-round pick. You know, I don't think that they're going to let him go for a second-round pick. Why would you do that? You know, when there probably, you know, potentially could be even a bidding war, because people aren't loving the quarterbacks coming out in this draft. They're not, you know, there's so, you know, Deshaun Watson's all over the board. Mitch Trubisky's only started 13 games.
Yep.
You don't have, you know, the Jameis Winston there, or, you know, or even the Jared Goff necessarily. So, well, we'll see how that turns out. But,
right.
But you know what I mean. So teams, you know, like San Francisco and others, I think will take a good, long, hard look at him.
Agreed. All right, I think that's all we got from here. Thanks for following along, guys. You can find my work on the Patriots on MassLive.com. Mary Kay is on Cleveland.com.